Thank you very much, Mr. President, fellow senators. I rise today also.
The senator from Idaho.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today also in support of the Bipartisan Sportsmen's Act of 2015. I'm honored to be here today with Senator Murkowski. Idahoans and Alaskans have a lot in common when it comes to outdoor sporting activities in hunting and fishing. Senator Crapo and I from Idaho were honored to host Senator Murkowski in Idaho, and although we don't have the acres that Alaska has, we certainly have that diverse environment for hunting and fishing, and many different areas of the state that support and will continue to support both fish and game. This bill is co-sponsored by a bipartisan team of senators that are committed to advancing the agenda of sportsmen and sportswomen. Senators Murkowski and Risch, along with the leaders of the Congressional Sportsmen Caucus, myself and Senator Manchin as the co-chairman, and Senator Fisher and Senator Heitkamp as the co-vice chairman, and this is the largest bipartisan caucus in Congress, have diligently labored to craft this bipartisan legislation that is supported by a broad coalition of sportsmen's groups. Indeed, we've worked on it substantially more than since the first of the year. Last year, we labored over it at great length, and were not able to get it across the finish line, but we are cautiously optimistic this year that we have hit that right spot where we actually can get this across the finish line this year. One provision of this package will encourage states to create and maintain public shooting ranges. This will promote gun safety by providing a venue to teach young adults about firearms. These public ranges can also serve as a place to hold hunter education classes and be used as facilities to train police forces. This bill will also allow any legal gun owner to carry a firearm on land administered by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. This provision will require the Army Corps to conform their regulations to align with local laws related to firearms. I would like to thank my colleague from Idaho, Senator Mike Crapo, for his hard work and leadership on this particular issue. I know the sportsmen of Idaho and across the country are pleased to know that this legislation will allow firearms on Army Corps land, that it is included in this bipartisan sportsman's package. This bill will also reauthorize the Federal Land Transaction Facilitation Act, a program that enables the Bureau of Land Management to sell public land for community development and other projects. This land-for-land approach creates jobs and generates funding for the BLM to acquire critical inholdings from willing sellers. I'm also proud to include a provision supported by my colleague from Wyoming, Senator Mike Enzi, to allow archery equipment to be transported and possessed in national parks. Archery is one of the fastest-growing sports in America. It should not be illegal to carry a bow in a national park. I'm happy to work with my colleagues to include this important provision in this Sportsman's Act. Whether you hunt or fish to put food on the table, or for sport, or to pass down a tradition to your family, or for game management purposes, there is something in this bill for you. With more than 500,000 sportsmen and sportswomen in the state of Idaho, this legislation will ensure they can continue to access their favorite hunting or fishing sport. In fact, the number of people who hunt each year in Idaho would fill Boise State Bronco Stadium more than 6.5 times. Most of you are familiar with that stadium since it's the only stadium in America that has blue turf, and most everyone has seen that. For those of us who hunt and fish, it is difficult to put into words why this legislation is so important. I ask everyone I talk to about these issues and to encourage and teach youngsters about hunting and fishing. In Idaho this last year, 14,000 kids purchased a junior fishing license and approximately 14,000 purchased a junior hunting license. These numbers could be higher, and they should be higher. It is important to teach and mentor these future generations, those coming behind us, about hunting and fishing, and to hand down this culture for them. Hunting and fishing give us a great reason to be in the great outdoors, a great reason to hand down traditions, and a great reason to support the Bipartisan Sportsmen's Act of 2015. I urge all of my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to work with this bipartisan coalition we've put together to co-sponsor and to work with us to pass this legislation. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the floor, and I would note the absence of